Test, test.
What's up, my G?
How's it going, brother? Sorry about that. I was trying to use the iPad to go on live, but it didn't work out.
Don't even trip.
Hey.
Technology, Holmes. Technology.
Yeah, this has me all messed up. So I wanted to start today's conversation by just saying thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today and hopping on
Yeah.
KrylonTalk.
Hell yeah. I love to
The
talk
re
about graffiti. Shit.
Hey, that makes two of us.
Yeah.
So I started KrylonTalk because the new generation and people that are writing graffiti now, they tend to forget that there was people before them doing it, and graffiti started with certain utensils,
That's right.
and because back when I started, like in '05, so I was hoping the conversation if you could share a little bit about uh,
Right. I lost you a little bit right there, but I think you were talking about the history in LA. I mean, in the harbor area, I'll speak on that because that's where I was as a kid.
hey,
There wasn't.
I'm from the Harbor area too.
That's right. Yeah, because there wasn't a lot of graffiti down there. There was two cats that were famous from Carson, Dream and Green.
Dream and Green.
Yep, Dream was a Samoan and Green was a black kid, and they were a little bit, I think, older than me, and they were already getting up. Like they could do full wild style pieces, and they had been doing it. You could tell. Um, but I looked at those guys. I was like, damn. But it was mainly gang writing down there, right? And
Okay.
so people weren't really into doing bombing style. There would be little stuff in an alley here and there, but so I started to trip on. I was mainly just drawing in books, you know what I mean, and going drawing in black books and dreaming of painting these big walls. And I bumped into a kid in Gardena named Clever, and
Okay.
Clever already knew how to piece. But we were just doing silver pieces and shit. Silver with the Krylon red and the true blue. Man, that was the shit for us, man. And I look back at those pictures, I'm like, man, come a long way. But that shit back then, it just felt so good. This is probably about 1980, 88, 89. So we'd
Okay.
already been like just using our parents' spray paint cans that we found, like we started to learn like the silvers were getting hot. That in the late 80s, silver started to pop, and like Dream would do giant pieces of silver. It was crazy.
Is there anything that you used while you were out there getting up at that time that maybe is not available today that you could share?
Well, definitely Krylon. I mean, you were good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry, we
but
lost you there a little bit. You cut
okay.
off a little bit.
Um, yeah, I mean, we didn't have the wide selection that the kids do now. You just had Krylon and you steal the tips from the tester cans. That was
Yeah.
our little struggle back then. No internet. If you wanted to see a piece, you had to go drive to see that shit. If you wanted to see graffiti from somewhere else, maybe you would get a magazine from the East Coast, or someone had Polaroids from the East Coast, and we would study that shit. Study the Subway Art book and try to mimic those guys. You know what I mean? And flip it. And then as time went on, we started putting an LA culture to it and do like old English in wild styles and shit like that.
Dope. That's dope. Um, if you could share a little bit about who was probably the like the first crew that you could say out in LA that started the culture for LA.
I mean, when I was 20 years old, there was two big crews, and the crews were all in West LA. East LA
Okay.
was still on the come up. They still weren't bombing like kids from the West Side. And when I say the West Side, I mean west of the 110 freeway. You had the K2Ss right there.
Okay.
They were doing crazy pieces. Prime was just doing these crazy block style cholo pieces and shit. And my crew, WCA, which was kids that were more from like the Fairfax area. Even though I was from down in the harbor area, I would drive over there to hang with them fools. And that's where it seemed all the graffiti was popping, was on the west side.
Dope.
So
And
those are the
you
two big crews. Yeah, there was the ones at the time. I mean, of course, it was a UTI. Um, my brain cells are fried right now, man. I should have warmed up. You know what I mean? And wrote the crew. I mean, Bus Crime BC was just a bunch of youngsters starting out. Now, I mean, there's just so many you can go on for days. Back then, there was a handful of crews.
dope. Is there something you could share? Like, how did the transaction happen? Like, you being from the harbor area, how did you end up, clicking up with all these other cats up in LA? Were you just going down there and getting up, or they reached out?
Yeah, you'd have to just go over there. You know what I mean? No cell phones. You know, fools were on the bus. Had a little bucket, and I would just shoot to LA, and me and OG Abel would drive around and do pieces on the Jefferson Yard, and that's how we met like Sinner and Sane, and all those kids that are like, OGs now. Back then we were all
So
just youngsters, you know.
it was more of just busting the mission down to downtown LA, paint, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, I mean, downtown wasn't even as popping back then. It was more about like off of Melrose, the Jefferson tracks, the WCA tracks that are the Motor Yard, the Sunset, and Fairfax Yard. So there would be little yards, and that's where fools would hang out and smoke and fucking bullshit. And then, like, when I got real hyped on graffiti, like 1990, all my friends like Rival and Risk, those fools were over it. They were like, "Oh man, you still, they were getting, like Rival was getting sleeve down tattoos. These fools are going in another direction. Even though Risk never stopped. I mean, Risk is still bombing right now, probably right now.
Yeah,
You
shout out
know,
Risk, shout out Risk.
yeah. Um, those guys are real good influences, and Pyro, Whisk, Minor, PJ, Pedro. These were the guys that were hanging around at the time when I was writing.
Dope, that's dope. Do you have when you're painting, do you have favorite caps like your favorite three, or is whatever comes?
Yeah, I mean nowadays, I like those little orange liners. Some of the clear ones are cool. I mean, there couldn't be a better time to be a writer right now, But for me, I got busted when I was 17 for destroying the speed roll. The detectives came and pulled me out of class, and they had a bunch of evidence on me, and I got a bill I had to pay back. So I went and did graffiti inside of like a boxing gym, a stereo shop, and I started to learn a little bit how to exchange or sell, to use spray paint, but to use lettering fonts like script or casual, like supermarket letters. You know what I mean? And I started to hustle regular jobs with spray paint. That's where my life started to change a little bit.
Dope. And if I could ask, how did you take the transition of leaving Krylon and maybe Rust-Oleum behind and adapting to a more fancy can like Montana? Did you enjoy it, or was it just like whatever?
I'm always open for anything that's going to make my life easier. If it's going to make the work look better.
Yeah.
This spray paint's made by writers, for writers. So say what you will, but I like to see a tag. Like I don't see gang writing with the fat cap. That looks whack to me. You know, I don't want to see. I want to see like a fucked up color with the stock tip with gang
Yeah.
writing, dragging the
Yeah.
can on the surface. You know, and then uh, I like these new caps, man. These tools are just going nuts, Holmes. I mean, it's unbelievable what's going on with the work out there and the quality. And it's good, Holmes. It's time for our people to shine, Holmes. Let us come up and let us feed our families doing this art. This is what we were born to do. We're made to do this. So, there's enough for everybody out there, man. We should all support each other and bring each other up if we can, instead of, there's always going to be hate. There's always going to be fools clowning. I mean, without that, Holmes, it wouldn't be real life. But the more we can support each other, the more we can bring each other up, Holmes, it's just good for our families, dog.
Definitely. We gotta, sometimes it's part of growing, as a person.
Yeah, and everything is necessary. Like I'll go do a big fancy mural, and it might be like, say, inside of a corporate company, but I also got to kind of back up the guy that's scribing on a glass window. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you have a beautiful lowrider, but your
Yeah.
cousin's an active gang member. Like they're still all connected. It's still kind of like a family. But if we can maybe take that youngster that's scribing and get in trouble for scribing on someone's business and put a striping sword and have the kid try to pinstripe a car or lay some gold leaf down on some glass, his life might take a turn. You know what I'm saying? That's what I had to do once I got a little bit older and it was time to be grown up. You know?
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes it's still like you want to go, but you got to take care of, priorities like family.
Yeah.
And, especially when you have children, it's like they take over your life.
Yeah, and I'm 51, so me getting caught for graffiti right now is just not a great look, you know. But I have
Yeah.
the urge, Holmes. I drive on the freeway like everyone else. I read the side of the freeway, see who's getting up. Motherfuckers are going crazy with rollers and shit. Um, come to think of it, I remember, I think it's a crew called D2D. Was
Okay.
real big on the Harbor Freeway for a while. They were fucking molesting the freeway.
I'm over here off the 405 and the 710 where they meet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yup,
I'm over here.
that's right. But yeah,
um,
man, it's come a long way. You know, things are much different now. Uh, it'll never be the same. This is to me, the graffiti writers of today will be the next corporate head of the art department at HBO. The graffiti artists of today could be own a body shop. You know what I'm saying? For an auto body shop and paint cars. And get money. The graffiti writer, the vandal, he could end up being in fashion and buying his mom a house. You know what I'm saying? It's not all about money, but it eventually you got to go to work. And if you could take your passion for vandalism and getting up and do a big ass mural and help people, it starts to feel good and get a different purpose in life. But hey, when I'm out the country, I'm gonna get up and do throw ups and shit. You know what I mean? I'm on some
definitely.
ignorant, retarded throw up shit, illegal bombing. But when I'm in Southern California, I don't do none of that shit. Because the Vandal Squad would love to make an example out of me, you know?
Is there something you could share about traveling the world painting that maybe nobody knows out here in LA? Like, how do they take graffiti? How is it painting out there in different parts of the world?
Yeah, like if you say you show up to Italy,
Yeah.
everything is bombed, everything is destroyed. Like they do throw ups on the churches, on the ivory fucking marble palace. They'll do throw ups on that shit. It's just more covered, man. The city doesn't erase the shit. In Thailand, there's pieces I did 10 years ago that are still up. Like they just
Oh,
don't cover the shit. But if you get in
is,
trouble, it's not good. If you get caught, it's not good. But I never, you know, I don't fuck around too much. But when I'm able and it looks like it's, you know, a good thing, I'll hit and run. But yeah, that shit never leaves your brain, Holmes. No matter how old you get, I don't think you wanna get up. You wanna write your name.
Dope. And another thing I wanted to cover is in the graffiti culture, there's two terms that are frequently used a lot, and I wanted to see if you could give me your take on those two terms. One of them being capping, and the other one being toy.
Yeah, so capping, like going over somebody's shit,
Yeah,
that's a fine line, you know, because you gotta be very how do you say? I'd like to be respectful out there as much as possible. You know what I'm saying, and be conscious of somebody else. But if their shit's whack and you gotta get up right there, I'm gonna go over the wackest piece. You know, and
definitely.
but that's on a rare occasion. That's when shit is just covered and there's no other spot. So I try, and as far as like going out and dissing shit, that shit's over for me. You know, when I was a youngster, that shit was way more appealing. You know, now I don't go over nobody's shit, but uh, you know, I can't say that. Like let's just say my name. I own a couple properties now, Holmes. I'm a homeboy slash homeowner. If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
And
yeah, dope, dope.
these little fuckers, these little toys, right in the
Yeah.
neighborhood, Holmes, and I go and I cover that shit. I'll just straight roll. I cross them out first, and then I roll them up because I'm like, you're not fucking up my property value. Like, go to South Central and be really down. Don't do it in a fucking suburban neighborhood. But hey, every building I wrote on,
Yeah,
some youngster comes and writes on my shit. So it boomerangs, you know, that's cool. I understand. But make your shit tight too, you know. I might leave that shit up if you get off, you know. But if you do some
definitely.
bullshit, I'm going over it.
Like drawing happy faces and stuff.
Nah, but as far as being a toy, I think it's kind of safe to say that anybody in their first month of writing is going to be a toy. You know what I mean? Your first is your worst. Uh, Everyone sucks when they start, Holmes, and then you get better and you get better. And I think a toy is someone that just don't follow the rules, man. They just have no fucking respect, and they you can see it in their work or the way they conduct themselves. So having class in every area you can, Holmes, it helps, you know. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, those words will always be around, and there will always be people to fit those roles, and you know, everyone's kind of guilty at some point. So maybe if you've been there, you can call somebody that.
is there something you could say to the new generation of graffiti now that might be listening?
I mean, the only word I'd probably say is if you see a traditional mural in the neighborhood, like a brushed, painted, like raza mural, or someone that's don't fuck with that shit. You know, don't fuck with other people's badass murals. Um, and other than that, man, get money to help your people. Surround yourself by other people that are on the same mission as you. You know, use your crew to elevate all of you, and stay in contact with these fools through your life. You know what I'm saying? These are going to be some of the best times you're going to have. Is being a fucking youngster with no fucking responsibilities, living at your mom's terrorizing. Just try not to drag moms into it, and just you know be a good bulldozer, and get your money while you can, while you're a youngster, and that's it. That shit will always be with you, you know.
Yeah, man, that's definitely one of the best moments is being out there fucking shit up and waking up the next day, no worries.
Yeah, and keep going with it. Like, do good at graffiti, pick up one shot, go to Trade Tech in downtown LA, take the sign graphics course. You like doing lettering? Fucking do some gold leaf. Let's see. Do some real crazy shit. Do it all. keep doing spray paint shit. Pick up a lettering brush, a squirrel hair, do some fucking sign painting, do some oil work, learn how to, maybe do a mural on a car or paint a car or do some candy paint, some flake, pearls. Start playing with all that custom shit, man. The custom car world and the lowrider world and graffiti world, they're real close to each other. Tattoo community, these
Yeah, definitely.
are these are people that understand. You know what I'm saying? And you can get older and still keep it gangster and still do what you love to do, and help your homies out.
Yeah, man, you got to. Um, I'm from the Harbor area. You being from the Harbor area, what does it mean to you being from the Harbor area and knowing that your art has hit the world?
It's crazy, man, because rolling through Pedro and Wilmington, Gardena, Torrance, Lomita, uh, Redondo, all those areas, man. It's by the beach. The bombs were always there. Long Beach, cruise along the edge right there. There's just something about the end of the 110. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just different. Maybe it's a little slower down there. You know what I mean? Where you can fucking get that ocean breeze, and I think it's a lot too like the West Side, like our fools from Santa Monica and Culver City, Venice. They have a similar vibe over there too. We have beautiful cities, and we have some of the best Impalas and bombs out there.
Is
So
it? Do you have a favorite spot to paint in the harbor?
I mean, I always used to go up and down Pacific Avenue, and most of my murals were on there. I had one on Gaffy before, but and then my pops had a spot in Old Torrance, and he had a barber shop on Torrance Boulevard, and he had a little print shop in Carson. So I used to get up in those little areas where I could. My mom would be like, "Is that your name?" I'd be like, "No, no."
Yeah,
But
yeah. I come from a very Hispanic mom, so she didn't speak English, so it was just more like, "Hey, sácame tu chingadera de aquí."
she knows, Holmes. She knows. She knows you're writing, Holmes, all over the fucking shit at the pad, But now, like my mother's able to live off of her son's art. You know what I mean? Which is based as a graffiti writer. So you know, it starts off, we're youngsters, homes, we vandalize people's shit, we terrorize, we want to break shit, fuck the government, fuck our parents. And then we get a little bit older and we realize, damn, maybe our parents are the only ones that really give a fuck when shit hits the fan. And then if you're lucky enough to be a father and, have your own family, then you got to figure out, like, okay, I love to do that shit, but I can't catch a case for doing, graffiti. There's so many ways to like mural people's side of their liquor store, or that's what I used to do. I used to just straight up walk up to someone, knock on their door, and be like, "Excuse me, I'm from the San Pedro beautification program, and we're doing mural. We noticed that they write on your wall, and we'd like to paint a mural." That would be my little pitch, you know what I mean? And when they heard that it wasn't going to cost them nothing, then they would say, yeah, and I'll be able to get up like right by the high school, shit like that. So, yeah, you just got to love it and take care of our culture, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Us doing graffiti is one of the staples in Los Angeles that we have to keep going, keep that shit up, keep doing it.
definitely. You gotta, just if you love it, keep going for it.
Right.
Is there something that you like? Your favorite choice of material that you use when it comes to painting or drawing on a canvas? Is there any certain type of stuff that you enjoy using personally?
Yeah, I mean, what I'll do a lot of times is say when I'm going to do a mural, I'll
Okay.
do as much of the mural as I can with just a can,
Okay.
right? And then once it's pretty much all filled in, I'll get the MTN and I'll spray. I'll cut a bottle of water in half, empty
Okay.
that shit out, clean it up, and spray in there. Fill it up with like liquid, with spray paint, and then I pour it into an airbrush. Turn the pressure up, and I can do all the details with spray paint out of my airbrush.
Got you.
So that's one of my techniques where I'm able to do like eyelashes on a girl's face. You know, I'm not using those little cap things with the hole. We used to make them back in the day with the top and just drill a hole right there. I just use an airbrush, bro, because I learned how to do that through the automotive paint. I used to airbrush T-shirts. I used to go to the swap meet, Rhodium swap meet. I'll go to car
You ever
shows.
you ever do the harbor swap meet right there in Wilmington?
I didn't do the harbor swap meet, but I used to. Back then, the Rhodium was the only one.
Oh,
That's how
okay.
old, this story goes back. There wasn't a swap meet in each city yet, right? There was only two, Rhodium and the Slauson. And
Oh, okay.
now we used to have like you could go to Navy surplus. That was like the move, the Navy surplus. You know what I mean? And you
Okay.
could get Old English letters ironed on your hoodie. You could get like raw denim, Levi's, hoodies. They had like Carhartt hoodies and shit like that. But there was no clothing brands in the late 80s and the early 90s. Nowadays, kids, they're fresh. I see them. They got, all the shit on. They got J's on. They got the shit. It wasn't like that back then, man. You had a Cortez at best, you know. People they didn't have money for that shit, but more or less they didn't even know about it. So LA culture's come a long way. Like I got a collab right now with this brand called Neighborhood.
Oh
And
yeah, I checked it out.
yeah, they're like a Japanese brand that they love like street shit, street art, and their shit's mainly all black, and they have a real good version, but they wanted to do like this fantasy liquor store thing. And it's funny because the shit is so expensive, bro. It's like the whole thing is vibed off of like a swap meet, smoke shop, hood liquor store, right? But the
Yeah.
fucking hoodie's $300, Holmes. But that's
Oh,
the Japanese, that's the Japanese shit right there. The
that
quality,
shit
bro, is
pricey.
crazy, Holmes. The quality is really nice, and there's a limited run, and it's almost looked at as a piece of art, you
But
know.
for everybody that's tapping in, if they want to buy one, where can they grab one at?
They go to MrCartoon.com.
Dope.
Yep, I got the store on there. But yeah, this neighborhood shit is really expensive, but the quality and the packaging is ill, and it's a Tokyo drop, so it's not even really for here. The only place you can get it here is on my website, but it's mainly a Japanese uh, drop, so that's why that shit's so high. But welcome to streetwear, man. Like all the streetwear shit's crazy expensive, but in a weird way, it elevates our shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Takes this like swap meet hood airbrush style and puts it on high end shit in Paris and in Tokyo and shit. So
It seems like over there that type of style is like popular right now, like in Japan and China. I've noticed that a lot of them are endorsing more like the lowrider culture.
yeah, I mean it's been going on for 20 years, Holmes. I've been going to Tokyo for over 25 years. They they're deep over there. They know how to low ride. They don't fuck around. They got rag Impalas hitting back bumper, Dayton's. They have everything but the violence and poverty part. But that's what makes it here so real, right? Because this shit's
Yeah.
created out of addiction, out of poverty, out of police brutality, comes this beautiful art form that the rest of the world can feel it, man. They're like, fuck, that shit looks hard as fuck. But they don't know about smoking PCP in the park and running from the cops and scribing. They don't know this shit so much as they know that they feel the pain. You know what I mean? They feel our heart. They feel our style. You know what I mean? So they want to emulate it, but you know, they end up in a weird way helping a lot of people here. So someone might look at them and be like, hey, these fools are robbing our culture, right? And then other
Yeah.
fools, they help, right, by building a lowrider at his shop. So for that fool, those people from China are helping dude survive. You know what I mean? On the other hand, they're imitating us, but so are people in the Midwest or people in Europe. You know what I mean? This shit is going down, Holmes. There's no stopping the shit. We just don't like put official like neighborhood anything that's gonna get them beat up. We don't want to have them get fucked up, right? But they can get a smile out, cry later mask comes like everyone else, you know.
Yeah, man. It's just now people, we need to unite more rather than hate on each other, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's something to say. We do. I think most of the time we do help each other. The same like conversation me and you are having. I think that's most of the time, Holmes. It's just easier to focus on the hate because
Yeah,
no one wants to
definitely.
hear that shit, right? So, uh, but but most of the time it is actually support and love, Holmes. You know, like I think it's time for us, Holmes, me and other artists, you know, a wide group of artists to do as much as you can. I'm take it as far as we can go, as long as we keep our respect and we're aware of what's going on, you know?
Yeah, and that's my goal because now the new generation, like, they forget there's people that really live this and this is their life. It's just not something they go do on the weekend. And I try to show that to the following and everybody that taps in. Like, there's people out here that really were pioneers, and established an LA culture for someone like myself to enjoy and be able to do. Because
For
some
sure.
people seem to just wake up one day and be like, I write, but they forget someone was writing way before you.
Yeah, it's important to know the history, you know what I mean? Um, I'm into that type of shit. I like to hear about old writers and you know what it was like before I was around and um but you know it's you got to reintroduce yourself, Holmes, every 10 years. Every 10 years, a new group of youngsters. They never heard of me, Holmes. So like that
Yeah,
Netflix thing, that helps because that introduces your shit to a bunch of other people that they ain't never heard of you, Holmes, you know? So I don't take offense to that. I'm cool. My name's Cartoon. You know, I went to San Pedro High. I'm a Taurus. I'm from WCA, AWR, you know. I'll introduce myself again. But it's something that you just keep pushing forward, dog. You can't be satisfied with what you did last year or last month. You gotta always come with it.
be ready.
That's right. You gotta be ready. Hand you a can, you better be able to go bust on the wall right there. Boom. Have your
Is,
hand control up.
is there a little bit you could share about the feeling that starting just as vandalizing and it just became something so big to like where you get to work with so many, big name brands and stuff like that. Can you share a little bit about the feeling and the satisfaction that it is that to get to that level?
Well, I think it's what those things have in common is like a rush. You know what I mean? We want
Yeah,
that rush. One's of danger, another one is of failure maybe, you know what I'm saying? Or the unknown, so it's there's a certain feeling you get when you're writing on somebody's shit and you're not supposed to be doing it, right?
yeah,
That shit feels crazy. And if you can get away with it, it's even better, right? But
definitely.
we can only pull that off for so long. And I just like for so many years just got up on legal spots. You know what I mean? It's not as cool. Like I got friends that are for real vandals. Like they travel to vandal homes, and I salute these fools. You know, I don't want to even say any names right now, but uh, they're real. They're really putting it out there. That I just forget it, Holmes. I can't do it. I can't hang. These fools are hanging off the fucking freeways and going up on. You got to be real agile, first of all. If you're fucking like you can do acrobatics, you'd be a good graffiti writer. You know what I mean?
For
But
for
Yeah,
I seen
I
some
think
gorditos out there they're doing their thing.
yeah, they're fucking bad, Holmes. I mean, I love it, Holmes. I love to see it. Shit's got really bombed during these little riot things, these protests. Fools
Yeah,
got took that opportunity to get up. There's a couple youngsters I see in the area, like driving around, in the area. You'll see getting up, on the catching a black billboard or something like that.
dope. There's a question I ask everybody. It's like a Krylon question, a Krylon talk question. Sorry. Do you have a favorite shoe when you're out there painting or drawing that you like to rock?
I mean, I'll probably take some Beat J's that I know they're like my last wear. You know what I mean? Because they're gonna get paint on them for sure.
Yeah,
There's no you can't. Um, so I'll wear Jordans usually when I paint, but that's only probably the last 10, 15 years or some shit. Before it was whatever I was wearing that day. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm kind of like, oh, I'm gonna wear. These got paint on them, so I'm gonna wear those. You know what I mean? So I keep painting shoes a lot of times where they look cool, like in a picture. Like if you take a picture of me painting, you'd be like, oh shit, he got some nice threes on right there. But what you can't see is just splattered with paint, and the toes are wrinkled and shit.
got you. Will we be seeing maybe in the future a new Mr. Cartoon mural out here in the harbor?
Yeah, I mean, my goal is to do something with the LA Unified, or try to like get these kids involved into painting. You know, I'm all about service, public service. And
Yeah,
I've been doing it for 30 years. I go into schools. I talk to them about kind of a conversation we're having, but more about having a career. And so if you see me out there, I'll definitely be doing something like that. So try to beautify some of these schools and get these kids fired up and let them know that if they put their mind to it, they can be an artist.
definitely. How, as a parent, how would you feel if one of your child decided to paint graffiti? Will you be for it or against it?
I teach my kids graffiti, but I just teach
Oh,
them
okay,
here in the studio. Like I have big 2x4s. I mean, four by
okay.
eights. Excuse me, 4x8 sheets. I prime them, and I just let them paint on them.
Let them
So
get creative.
yeah, yeah. So it's more about almost like a paintbrush than an actual like graffiti. You know what I mean? They're not gonna ever be able to. I was home a lot by myself. Like my parents had a mom and pop print shop, and I was home for hours by myself. So you know how that is. You go into the street, you start writing on shit, you sneak out the pet. I was a bad kid compared to my kids are very good. They're in the room when I check on them, Holmes. Me, I was sneaking
Yeah,
out, writing on, coming back in and terrorizing. But yeah, I was still had good parents, so I was able to do okay, and that's why too I like to help a lot of these kids. Is that I have like a real good, loving mother and father. They've been married over 50 years. They still hold hands. They're a trip dog, you know. But so I take that for the youngsters that didn't have that shit, and I like to tell them how to do this.
yeah. Because sometimes they need some type of guidance. They're out there just wilding out.
Kids without direction will be kids and do kid things and throw rocks at cars and fucking carve a weenie in the wall in the toilet. Draw a little, make a carve a hole and try to draw like a pussy around it. Kids will be kids. I'm guilty of some of that shit, but I try not to be too hard on my kids because I was a terrorizer. No, I wasn't a like crazy bad kid. I was probably more quiet when I look back at it compared to some of my family's kids.
um, Before I let you go out of here, I wanted to ask you one last question. Is there any writer out there that you will say influenced you to begin graffiti?
I think I would say my boy Clever, man, had the biggest. We started a crew in 1990 called DEF, doing everything fresh, and
Dope.
it was just it was like me, Clever, OG Abel, Sphere, and like two other fools. And I think eventually that name got used by some other, like turned into a tag banging crew or something. But at that time, it was just us, like six of us doing, putting arrows on the end of our shit. But yeah, Clever, rest in peace, man.
Rest in
He's
peace,
famous
Clever.
in Gardena, and like older cats know who he is. And yeah, he had the biggest influence because he knew how to do a piece backwards. He put the color down first, then
Oh
you
wow.
do the fade and the little
Yeah.
fill-ins, and then you outline it.
Oh, I
When you're
never
a
seen nobody
kid,
do
yeah,
that.
when you're a kid, you just outline that fucker first and then try to
Yeah.
fill it in. So yeah, he showed us how to do a proper piece and throw a 3D and shit. It
How,
was pretty
how do
bad.
you how do you feel about that now that you mentioned it? How do you feel about tag bangers?
I just think it's in our blood, Holmes. Like once we get into a group of 20 of us, we just want to fucking sock people in the face and sell drugs and fucking. It's just natural, Holmes. I mean, you can't stop that shit, dog. They tried not to be gangs, and they tried to be like, no, we're like b-boys and hip hop and shit, but it's too hard, Holmes. You got too deep. It's just, it's history now. It's just the way it is. But I think if kids, it's hard because vandal graffiti will always be like some kid that he's a latchkey kid. He might be a runway, and he hangs out with a kid that's like middle class, and then they ditch, and then they have another friend in Compton, and they think to bust a comp. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
always going to be those stories, Holmes, and that's where the graffiti writers are going to come out of, those raw kids, street kids from every level in life. But that's the future of all the designers, Holmes. Unless if those kids, see, on one hand, I tell kids, be focused, you know, uh, stay out of trouble, be a good artist, help your family. On the other hand, kids do drugs, they get in fights, they ride on people's shit, they terrorize, they become dope ass artists. So, but I
Yeah,
don't want
definitely.
my kids to go through that shit, but I kind of want them to have the results. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
want them to do coke, but that shit made me like a better person or a crazier person, or you understand? But
Yeah.
I don't want them to go through it. But it's hard because it's the bad shit that happens to you sometimes that shapes you as an artist.
Definitely. Is there a story that you could share that maybe something while you're out painting that you'd be like, damn, I can't believe I saw that or did that you could share?
Man, hmm. Think I can't leave the times in my head like cops coming, crazy vigilante people come out of their houses when you're writing and they want to fucking film you and fight you and chase you and shit like that. So I think it was maybe like the crazy homeowners and shit.
Yeah.
That now at 50, I might be one of those guys running out there.
Hey, get out of here!
Hey, get out here, fucker. But yeah, well, you got to watch out what you do, man, because that shit comes around, and it does happen to you when you get older. It's funny because you got to eat shit on some of it. You know what I mean? Because you did that shit, so you got to let them slide here and there. But yeah, man, love what you do. We live. If your family's safe right now, if you're good, we got it made, man.
Definitely.
Stay in the attitude of gratitude, and in between the pieces, try to help some motherfuckers out. Do some beautiful murals in the neighborhood, beautify your community.
Last question I got for you before I let you go. Can you share what WCA means to you and what it takes to be WCA?
Yeah, WCA for us was the epitome of a writer, of doing pieces it was all about West Coast pride, you know.
That
And when I got in, you had guys like Rival and Risk, and these guys were getting up. They were stupid clean pieces. And Miner was one of the first guys to go all city in Los Angeles, where you see his name on every phone. They used to have these things called phone booths back when I was a kid, and
phone booth.
a phone booth. Yeah, it was like a box where you pick up a fucking
Oh
phone.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Them
yeah.
shits are gone, man. I haven't seen a phone booth in fucking years, but yeah, they would just write on any box, any fire hydrant, any fucking stop sign, you know. And these guys, you know, they influenced me, but they really drove me to up my game and do my fucking line straight and be better. You know what I mean? And eventually, I got in. When I first tried to get in WCA, they said, "Come back when you have a photo album of pieces." Because I showed them my black book, and they were like,
Yeah,
"Oh, this is dope." I had all these characters and shit. They were like, "Where's the pictures of your pieces?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't got those with me because I was just in books. I was still being a
yeah,
toy writing in my book, you know." And that's what made me go out there. That's when I met Clever and I learned how to piece. And by the time I got in WCA, I already knew how to get up, how to bomb. A, from watching them, and then B, having to do it myself. And then AWR is my other crew where, you know, Eclipse, it was like a youngster that I influenced that I didn't even know. I knew his older brothers. And, you know, Eclipse has started MSK and AWR, you know, one of the legendary graffiti writers, owns the Seventh Letter. And yeah, he was a youngster watching me when I was coming up. And so to be in that crew is crazy because I've known him fucking for 20 something years, you know? So you never know who's watching you. You never know that little kid who's watching you, man. He might grow up to be a bad motherfucker. So treat everyone good if you can. Look people in the eyes when you shake their hand, and you know, try not to burn nobody or F no one's old lady, and you'll be all right.
definitely, brother, definitely.
That's right.
And again, brother, I just wanted to say thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity today,
Doing
and
that, brother.
I look forward to meeting you. I
Yeah,
look forward to meeting you. You
yeah,
know, you're from
bro.
the Harbor area. I'm from the Harbor area. It's all
That's
Harbor area
right.
love.
We'll see you at the next event, Holmes, when the Rona slows down.
Órale.
That's right,
You have
Dom.
a good one, brother. Thank you.
All right, homie. Peace.
Peace. Howdy, King. There we go. Hey, man. Shout out everybody that tapped in. I appreciate you guys. Much love. To the next one. Peace.